Folks, what's going on? HeirofCarthage here. We are back into Krumpin Kup. This is going to be game 3 of Pugginton versus Chosen One. You can see the armies here. I'll cover them in some detail on the map, but I like getting you this loading screen, so if you want to pause it, check it out, you can. So far, we are at a 1-1 tie. If you haven't watched Battle 1 and 2, you need to go back and watch it. This is a series of 5. There'll be a link to the challenge link to the tournament, which has a rule set and some other stuff there. And like I said, I'll have a link to the video on demand from the cast of the tournament, which was done by Wicked and HapyPupy. So make sure and check that out. It was a really awesome tournament. Again, this is just the finals, which is a best of 5, and currently it's tied at 1-1. And I'll let you guys go check out those previous battles. In any case, we're going to have a Bretonnia versus Empire matchup here. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We got Pugginton here with Bretonnia. And we've got the Empire over here, which is led by ODM Chosen One. It's going to be Karl Franz on his Griffin Deathclaw. Let's check out his abilities, actually. So Franzi does have Galmaraz and the Runefang, which I absolutely love. And then there's a Jade Wizard to support him with Regrowth and Earthblood. It's always a solid pick. Franz is an absolute nightmare in an aerial battle. He is so tough with Galmaraz and Reichland Runefang, and then if he has a Jade Wizard to give him Regrowth, he is just an absolute beast. Should easily be able to take down Lewin if they end up in that type of fight. And then as for Pugginton's army, as you can see, obviously it's Bretonnia, it's a lot of cheap infantry. There's a couple of archers, a couple of Blessed Field Trebuchets, and then you got some Grail Knights, Defender of the Fleur-de-Lis, and then we've got the Companion of Kinel over here, which is going to be an anti-large questing knight. So and the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis are a Knights Errant, but obviously better stats. They've got Frenzy, some other stuff like that. So early on here, this mounted yeoman did some real work and snuck through the lines of Chosen One unseen and did hit the mortar and managed to rout it out of all things. And so we're going to see what that turns out to do in the long run here. You can see the Blessed Field Trebuchets trying to trade shots at range here. The mortars are very effective against infantry from range, and also against archers. And a pretty solid pick, I think, for the Empire. It gives them the ability to sit back and try and force Bretonnia into some engagements that Bretonnia may not want. And you can see that there's a lot of Empire Knights here. Clearly, there's a third one hidden back here, and they're supported by Outriders and then Franz. And then you can see there's some spears on the flanks, and then a halberd unit here and there to help support. As far as infantry, you don't need much infantry. The Empire Swordsmen and the Sigmar Sons over here, they can handle pretty much any of the Bretonnian infantry they need to. See, that mortar crew did manage to get back on their mortar, but then just took a nasty hit from the Field Trebuchet and puts them down to wavering. So pretty impressive work there by the Field Trebuchet. You can see the peasant archers with pox arrows trying not to get mortared. The mortars right now are doing some infantry damage. It's mostly just on the chaff up front, but right here some shots landing dangerously close to the peasant bows, and a little damage is done, even though it didn't kill any unit models. You can see the Outriders now pulling up, wanting to do some skirmish. They won't want to waste their ammo on peasants, so I'm assuming they're going to be out looking for more appropriate targets. See here, there's a Defender of the Fleur-de-Lis pushing in over here, but it is dangerously close to this Empire Knight. Oh, is it going to go for this charge? This would be bad for Bretonnia. Look how close that was, pulled off at the just utter last moment. That was a good call. Yeah, they did not want to get engaged there. Now look over here, Karl making a push on the other flank. I'm going to turn that off for just a moment so we can see what's going on. Oof, yeah. I kind of pulled back on it here. It looks like maybe just trying to get pot shots at the Grail Knights, but these pox arrows are going to really punish these Outriders. Ooh, Lewin and Karl getting into an aerial duel, but yeah, Lewin doesn't want, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, Lewin, you don't want that. Yeah, Galmaraz gets popped there, but it's just a little late. Oh gosh, so close to that wizard. And the Outriders, yeah, that would definitely not be the fight. Look at this, the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis did get a quick charge in. Managed to get 13 kills before pulling away. You can see a little bit of falling back here. There's some Battle Pilgrims on this flank, but oh, they are going to get met by a nasty charge of Empire Knights because the Companions of Kinel weren't able to turn around in time. It looks like they are engaged now, and the Empire Knights will get shredded by that Companion of Kinel. But they got a good charge on those battle pilgrims, and now they're going to flee out and shield themselves with their own spears. Let's see what's going on the other side here. Looks like the peasant mob and Grail Knights trying to hold back the Empire Knights, and they did. So it was a good hold there. And then these Spearmen at Arms managing to intercept the Empire Knights over here. The Pox arrows, of course, will be slowing things down. You can see, oh, sorry, this is the Damsel of Life. I may have, we got a Jade Wizard and a Damsel of Life. The Damsel's getting absolutely shreked by Outriders right now, and you can see Karl Franz caught up with Grail Knights. He is taking a pretty savage beating at the hands of those Grail Knights, actually, at the moment. There are some Empire Knights on the way, and you can see the Companions of Kinel headed this way as well as Lewin. This flank over here, got a lot going on that flank still. Let's just kind of hold this where we can see as much of the action as possible. This Empire Knight is going to be intercepted by the Grail Knights. They pull off of Karl. They were getting shot up pretty badly by the Outriders. Karl took a lot of damage there, but his Jade Wizard's still in good shape. The Damsel, on the other hand, took a lot of damage right there. She is in pretty dire straits at the moment. Here comes the Companion of Kinel to help support the Grail Knights. And then there's Spearmen coming in behind, and then it looks like a healing going on here. The healing is for Bretonnia. Well, is it? No, it's for the Empire. And Bretonnia. I think there was a heal from both. So it's it's Bretonnia and the Empire. The Grail Knights are out. They routed. Wow, I'm surprised to see the Grail Knights were out with that many units left. The Companions of Kinel, though, is a very tough unit, but there's Halberds here to support, too. And the Outriders just wheel up and start opening fire here also, and that's going to hurt the Companions very, very badly. Karl's not able to get the better of that engagement, but he does get a regrowth, which is going to help improve his vigor and his hit points, obviously. So Bretonnia's going to throw in some cheap infantry to continue that fight. Let's see what happened over here on the other flank. Some nice work here by the defender, the Fleur-de-Lis, to support against the Spearmen. This Blessed Field Trebuchet, very close to getting hit there, but it looks like it's still on its pieces, and the mortars have been knocked off their artillery pieces. I can assume, maybe, by the Trebuchet. Now the Trebuchet is going to fire at the Outriders. It's probably not a bad choice. These Grail Knights need to pull back. They're getting sheep-shotted right now, but here comes the Pox arrows. They'll put an end to that. They'll certainly put an end to that. So Lewin now in better health than Karl. Karl took a lot of damage. You can see here the Companion of Kinel putting a quick charge in on these Spearmen, trying to get them off the battlefield, and the power bar actually looking pretty good for Bretonnia at the moment. Now, despite what the power bar says, let's kind of think about what's available here. The Empire doesn't have a lot of great answers to these Pox arrows, nor to the field trebuchets. And then from an infantry standpoint, the Empire is running fairly low on infantry as well. So I think the power bar is probably pretty accurate at the moment, based on what I'm seeing. And, you know, of course I could be wrong, but it looks to be accurate, in my opinion. Going to be a heal here on the defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis. It's a good choice, I think. Keep them in good shape. These mobile units are going to help be the death of the Empire here. See some peasant mob that was routed, potentially coming back. Karl is going to maybe try and chain route these spears here, or terrify him, and it works. But he's followed by the defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis. They'll make it difficult for him to get back in the air, though he may be able to shield through Sigmar's sons. And Spearman got into the Blessed Field Trebuchet. Ooh, Karl and the Wizard decide to fight Lewin. Lewin's going to get support from the Companions of Kinel. I don't know how Karl could pull this one off with all these other units here. He's got Galmaraz and Reikland Runefang, which means he'll be dealing a lot of damage, but the question is whether he'll be dealing it to Lewin, and how much of it will Lewin be able to heal out. Got an Earthblood, just trying to check out. So we got the Sword of Coron in here too. Oh yeah, that's going to do it. The Sword of Coron just devastating. So yeah, Pugginton is going to take that one, and now it's going to be 2-1 Pugginton. As far as the next game, for Game 4, if Pugginton wins, he is going to win the tournament. But if Chosen One wins, it will force it to go to Game 5. Let's take a look at the after-battle screen here. So Pugginton, the solid Bretonnia win here. Well played indeed. This interesting matchup between these two factions. Who do you all prefer in the Bretonnia Empire matchup? I mean, I feel like it's... I would have probably depended on demigryphs, but demigryphs are very expensive. And going for more cavalry and cheaper cavalry with good support is certainly an option. To have a larger army, maybe, to make it more difficult. I don't know what Karl Franz with the Jade Wizard, to me, feels like a good pick. I mean, in almost any scenario against Bretonnia, because it's extra bonus versus large, and healing is never a bad thing. In a 1v1 fight like that, I mean, Franz should be able to take the cake. Obviously, by the time he fought Lewin, those weren't exactly an even fight, right? Because Lewin had done a bunch of... Karl had taken a bunch of damage elsewhere that Lewin hadn't. And I think that came at the hands of the Grail Knights being able to really dish it out to Karl. And you can see there that the mortars just actually got outdone by the Blessed Field Trebuchets, and also that really nice play by the Yeoman Cavalry early on. That was a pretty sweet play. It didn't get a lot of kills, but it caused a lot of disruption early on. And was a nice play by Pugginton to get that in there. Good play by Chosen One. He didn't win this one, but it was a very fun matchup. Very fun matchup indeed. You can see the kills kind of spread out across a lot of units here too on both players. Though the Companions of Kinnell did, rack up a decent bit here. But nice job of using all their units to get some work done. Hope you all enjoyed this one. Again, remember, check the links in the description if you needed them. It'll have a link to the video on demand in case you want to watch more of this tournament. Or if you want to go back and watch Game 1, which is not a replay that I have to cast. So you can go back and check that out. And I really appreciate what Wicked and HapyPupy did casting this. It was awesome to have them casting on the channel. I love giving folks an opportunity to host these events because I don't have time to do it myself. So more than happy to help out folks that I know like this by letting them host something. So anyway, next up will be Game 4